In 1980, our next port of call was the scene of one of Ireland's worst rail disasters. The terrible tragedy left 18 people dead and 75 people injured.
It's quite clear that everybody around here reacted magnificently to the tragedy.
The place is also known for the annual Cahermee Horse Fair, named after a local townland. The Irish name is Kilnamalach, which could be translated as the Church of the Summits. But it's the English name of the town that has me intrigued, Buttevant.
Of all the towns,
I'm here to meet historian Shane Lehan.
how are you?
Welcome to Buttevant, John.
I've been really looking forward to this one, to be honest with you.
Home of the Barrys.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, loads to tell you. Come on.
Go show me. So, no, since I was a kid, I've been fascinated by Buttevant. Where did they come up with a name like that?
Shane has brought me to Buttevant Castle.
This is where it all begins, John. The real, I suppose, colonisers of Ireland were the Anglo-Normans. They came over here in May 1169. One of the families that came were the de Barras, or the de Barrys. And they were given the lands here where the McCarthys were the strongholders at one point in time. And they had to put up various towers and buildings to make sure that they would say they were in charge. They decided to settle in and around Castle Lyons, which was East Cork, and this was the furthest west they would come. So they set up their first tower here, their outpost, if you like, their frontier tower, and the French for that, of course, is Buttevant, and that's what gives the town its name. They adopted that later on to give them Butte en avant, which was their war cry, if you like.
Yeah, that was the motto of the
That's
Barry
right. So the Barrymoors took it on in later time, but Butte en avant. How would you translate that?
In simple French, that's all I have. It would be like butte would be to headbutt or to strike, en avant, in advancing. So lash out while you're going forward, but keep going, isn't
Yes,
it?
bait on.
Bait on, man.
That's it.
Flake all around.
And
you.
that was the motto of the Barrys against the McCarthys.
And perhaps that's why Cork has produced so many great Barry hurlers as well, because they're well able to lash out and advance. It's an amazing construction, though, isn't it?
It is. It's an incredible construction. And what I think about it is this is only one part of what became an entire elaborated town. Because Buttevant became a walled town. It had its own gates. You had your own system, Burgess plots. It had an amount of craftspeople refining wool, leatherworking, dyeing, and so on, bringing in all the merchandise and the beautiful area around. We used to call this area, when we were small, Buttevant.
We used to call it Buttevant as well. Yeah.
And I often thought that it was the richness of the land that gave it its name.
I thought it was an old butter road. Will we have a look around the front?
Come on.
Yeah. I believe this part of the building is totally different, isn't it?
Yeah. This is the Andersons.
Just over the hill from the castle lies Ballybeg Augustinian Abbey, built by the monks who came to Buttevant with the de Barry clan. They too have left their mark in stone.
Have a look at this, John.
Looks like a round tower, but Jesus, that is.
What do you think? Incredible.
This is like being inside a beehive or something.
Well, this is a Columbarium. And this is something that is absolutely special. This is probably the best example in the whole country.
Columba, and when I was doing Latin, was a dove.
That's right, yeah.
It's a house for doves?
A dovecot or a Columbarium. They built this for the pigeons who were flying in the top. They were all, in each of these, there are 352 different little niches. And in there was a pair of doves or a pair of pigeons. And they were going out along the landscape here, taking in corn, feeding off wheat, all of those sort of things. They would come back. They would, of course, do their business, their guana. The guana was kept for the
fertilizer,
but particularly for the physic garden, for the herb gardens, because it was the most superior fertilizer over anything else. In addition to that, they were eating the eggs, but more importantly, they were eating the squabs or the squawkers. These were the newly hatched young pigeons. In 4 weeks, a pigeon will grow into full size, but because they hadn't flown yet, they were considered not to be flesh, and therefore the Augustinians, who were, kept to their rule, were allowed to eat those when they could. So pigeon pie was regularly on the menu during Lent.
Come on. So they were bending the rules a little there now, weren't they?
Absolutely.
Saying it's not quite flesh yet.
No. And I just think this is one of the most incredible examples of the sophistication of the Anglo-Normans. Yeah. And what I noticed on the outside here, which I think is stunning, are all of these snails. And I believe very strongly that they were into eating snails, into the
escargot, of course.
There we go. Yeah. And some of the remnants are here. These are Helix aspersa, and they're related to the domesticated snail.
You're telling me that there's snails here that probably came in with the French, is it?
They probably came in with with French, and the survivors are still hanging on to the edge of the dovecot.